On October 6, 2023, a neighbor reported hearing the Simpsons in a heated argument and seeing Brad grabbing Suzanne. Hours later, she is nowhere to be found. Why would a husband wait until the day after his wife disappeared to report her missing? And could this reveal something deeper about the relationship or her circumstances of her disappearance?
Join us as we dive in and try to unravel the mysterious circumstances of this case.
Agent Owens, where are you?
I'm right here.
I thought you vanished.
I didn't vanish, but the woman in this case certainly did.
Hey guys, welcome. If you're new here, we are Studio 7-0. I'm Ed.
I'm your girl, Shirok.
And today we got a good one we're going to talk about. But hey, just let you know, if you like true crime, we're all about that. All these different topics. We got an AI investigation team, Crime Force. They're anime characters that we created to do the investigation and kind of tell us what's going on. At the end, there'll be some questions. But until then, we want to talk to you about one more thing.
This is for education and entertainment purposes only. Please do your own research and always be kind to everyone.
That's right. Thank you so much. And we got to tell you about the other show that we have called The Jump Scare. So if you like watching scary movies videos on the internet, with a twist, check this out. Here's a quick little promo you can check out. Join us at The Jump Scare, where we watch and react to scary and strange videos. But there's a twist. As you watch, we throw in our own jump scare videos to keep you on your toes. Do you have nerves of steel? Prove it by taking our challenge for some added fun. Watch with a full mug of water, preferably with our logo on it, and see if you can stay steady and dry. Please be safe by keeping the water at room temperature and holding the cup away from anything that can be ruined, like electronics. Let us know if you kept your cool or ended up all washed up.
Nice.
All right, guys. We'll switch to that later. So today's video, because what we're going to do is we're going to watch a video first to give some background.
Right.
And then our Crime Force team, we're going to talk with them. We're going to give our own opinions, and they're going to answer some questions going a little deeper. But today's video is by a YouTube show called Law and Crime Network. So we want to give them credit. And please go over there, subscribe, and watch their stuff. We really appreciate it. It helps us do our thing. And yes, we're going to be talking over the video. We have to do that to give our own comments and fair use. So if you want to check out the video without interruption, please go over there. So I think what we're going to do is switch over and let's watch it together, guys. Here we go.
Authorities continue to search for the remains of a Texas realtor, while her husband of more than 2 decades remains locked up, charged with her murder. Suzanne Simpson, a mom of 4, vanished on October 6 after a fight with her husband Brad. Only she hasn't been heard from or seen since. According to officials, it doesn't appear Suzanne would make a safe return home after Brad allegedly physically assaulted her on October 6. This theory was also echoed by the couple's daughter, who wrote in a heartbreaking Instagram post she believed her father took her mom's life in a state of rage. While Suzanne's body hasn't been found, police have pieced together a detailed timeline that led up to what they believe to be her untimely death. Back in August, Suzanne allegedly revealed to her personal banker that she was being physically abused by her husband. She reportedly said Brad would often take away her cell phone and that her husband would tell their children she had lost her phone. She reportedly made an eerie revelation to her banker and said if she ever went missing, to look for her in a lake. The following month, Brad messaged an unidentified woman saying, "I still feel bad about tonight. I never should have grabbed her phone," and drove off, but she was protective of it. "My dumb didn't know her passcode, so I got locked out and had to bring it back. I really had no interest in looking through her phone or anybody else's. These devices are the devil." That woman later told investigators that Suzanne was aware her husband would track her and that he was extremely jealous. Then on the day Suzanne disappeared, the couple and their 5-year-old daughter went to a party in Alamo Heights, where witnesses claim to have seen the couple get into a verbal argument while at the party. Then at about 8:30 that evening, Suzanne and her daughter left the party to go to the grocery store H-E-B. Surveillance footage obtained by police reportedly showed her in the store from 8:40 to 8:51 p.m.
People don't know how to communicate.
By 9:15 that night, Suzanne called a family friend saying she was coming over. But a minute later, she reportedly called her mom to tell her husband had just assaulted her, and it caused pain to her arm, neck, and back. Then at 9:25, she arrived to the family friend's house. However, half an hour later, everything would change for the entire Simpson family. After 10 a.m., a neighbor witnessed Suzanne and Brad in a heated argument and witnessed a physical struggle. As Law and Crime previously reported, the neighbors saw Suzanne trying to get away from Brad's grasp when he was trying to pull her down. Brad then chased after his wife and was trying to grab her. Then suddenly, the neighbor heard loud screams coming from the wooded area near the Simpsons' home. At 10:22 that evening, Suzanne's Find My app showed her at her home, which was the last location listed for her on the app. Then about an hour after witnessing Brad and Suzanne fighting, the same neighbor saw Brad get into his pickup truck and leave their home, only to return about an hour later. The couple's 5-year-old daughter told a school counselor the following day that her dad pushed her mom against the wall, hit her in the face, and hurt her mom's elbow inside
right in
their
front
home,
of the he shouldn't
and
do it
turned
at
off
all.
her mom's phone because they
right in front of the kids.
But earlier that morning, shortly after midnight, Brad and his truck were seen on surveillance video at a San Antonio H-E-B, and his truck bed was clear of everything except a large ice chest. At 7:53 that same morning, surveillance video captured Brad's truck dropping off his daughter at school, and the truck bed contained 2 white trash bags and a large ice chest. Shortly before 9:15 that morning, Simpson's truck was seen on a drive-through camera at a Whataburger in Kendall County, Texas. Surveillance footage reportedly showed 3 white trash bags, a heavy-duty trash can, an ice chest, and a bulky item wrapped and secured in blue tarp that was held down by a firewood rack in the back of Brad's truck. And Brad allegedly made more questionable purchases. Shortly before 10 a.m. that same morning, he bought 2 bags of cement, a construction bucket, a box of heavy-duty trash bags, Clorox spray, and insect repellent with cash at a nearby Home Depot. According to authorities, before he had made those purchases, Brad asked an unknown man in the parking lot for directions to the nearest dump in Boerne, Texas. He reportedly tried to cover his tracks, and during that time, he allegedly shut off his cell phone, and his truck was seen near the Kendall County solid waste site. About an hour later at 11:15, his truck was seen at a gas station, but the white trash bags were missing from his truck. However, the blue tarp, firewood rack, and trash can were all still in his vehicle. And he made a fashion change too. He went from black sandals to dark-colored cowboy-styled boots. Hours later, Simpson was seen picking up his daughter from school, but according to authorities, his truck bed was clear of the blue tarp and metal firewood rack. By 4:07, he was seen on surveillance video washing and cleaning the driver's front side and rear left passenger side of his truck at a San Antonio car wash. But during that evening, loved ones of Suzanne believed something was off. They hadn't heard from her. Suzanne's sister would tell People magazine she believed something was off when Suzanne didn't pick up their youngest child from kindergarten, which is something she always did. Brad hadn't called police or called 911 to report his wife missing, so a friend of Suzanne's contacted police. Brad reportedly called police too and left a voicemail, but when officers called him back, he reportedly told them he hadn't heard from his wife since the night before. Things took another turn when Brad called his friend and business partner James Val Cotter. In text messages to his friend, Brad allegedly wrote, "If you're in Bandera, can you haul to meet me at your house? I don't have much time." And Cotter allegedly wrote, "Get over here, I won't tell anyone, and you're my brother." But by October 9th, Brad was arrested, initially not charged with murder. He was brought in on charges of assault causing bodily injury, family violence, and unlawful restraint. When Texas Rangers executed a search warrant on the Simpsons' Almost Park home, a ranger saw an indentation located on the wall at the bottom of the stairway. One of the Simpsons' daughters told police that damage was recent and wasn't there when she previously visited the home. And later that day, when Rangers searched Brad's property in Bandera County, they found a ground-level burn site with a burnt laptop and multiple cell phones. Rangers confirmed there was a positive match for blood inside Brad's truck, but later learned the blood belonged to Brad. But throughout all the searches, no sign of Suzanne. However, Brad's friend James Val Cotter was arrested on October 21st after agreeing to hide an AK-47 for Brad in the wall of his home. Cotter was charged with tampering with evidence and possessing a prohibited weapon. Officials believe believe Brad Simpson killed
I
Suzanne on
can't
October
sacrifice your
6th.
life if
And with a
somebody
mountain of
decide to
evidence
do
against
so-
Brad Simpson,
You're my brother,
authorities
you're gonna go
seemingly
to
had
jail
enough
from
to
that's
charge him with the
crazy.
murder of his wife and mother of his children. A lot to unpack with this case. I'm joined now by retired FBI agent Colin Schmidt.
Should we
Colin,
watch this
thank
too?
you so much for joining me
You
today.
don't have
We've
to.
been following this case since the beginning, and it seems
Yeah,
like there's
it's-
always
this
this
is-
new
let's skip
twist.
here.
But this affidavit
Yeah, because I think that's good enough. Because that's good. Is there?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. So let's
Some questions
scooch
on
over to our questions for our crime force. Okay. And if you guys want to see more of that video, hop over there, go give them some love, subscribe, watch it. Sorry if we talk over it, that drives some people nuts, but we
Right.
have to comment and talk about and react to it to make it our own
Oh,
fair use.
exactly.
Otherwise, we can't use it.
So the first question is like, what was Susan's relationship with her husband really like?
Which is
Really
that's a
like,
good
yeah.
question. I don't know who comes up with that one. That was a good one because it talked a little bit about it, like the violence, but not like, you know.
Suzanne Clark Simpson's relationship with her husband Brad Simpson was marked by domestic abuse and control before her disappearance. Evidence suggests a pattern of physical violence and controlling behavior. Suzanne confided in her personal banker about physical abuse by Brad in August 2024. She told her mother about Brad physically injuring her arm and back on the night of her disappearance.
He
A
didn't
neighbor
mention
witnessed
anything
a
about the
physical
mom, like, what did
altercation
she do?
between the couple
Yeah.
on October 6, 2024, where Brad appeared to be preventing Suzanne from running away. Suzanne's child reported to school staff that her parents were fighting and that her father had assaulted her mother and taken her phone away. Brad was known to track Suzanne's cell phone, and friends described him as extremely
So this
jealous.
is all so far with the video coverage.
Jealous,
In September
controlling.
2023, Brad admitted in a text message to a friend that he had grabbed Suzanne's phone and driven off with it. Suzanne had told her banker that, if she went missing, to look for her in a lake, indicating she feared for her safety. The
Right.
media portrayal of Brad Simpson appears to be largely
Smart.
negative.
It's easy said than
Several
done.
factors contribute to this perception. Brad Simpson is accused of unaliving his wife, Suzanne
Beautiful woman
Simpson,
who's
and
probably
faces
very
multiple
jealous.
serious
Yeah.
charges including unaliving, tampering with evidence, and possession of prohibited weapons. The case has received extensive local and national media coverage, described as having an unusually emotional nature. 6. Brad Simpson's behavior after Suzanne's disappearance is portrayed as suspicious, including becoming uncooperative with investigators and failing to show up for an interview. The media has reported on incriminating evidence, such as DNA found on a saw that Brad allegedly tried to hide from police. Brad Simpson pleaded the
Guilty.
fifth when asked about his missing wife in family court, which may be interpreted negatively by the public. Barton Simpson has been cooperating with law enforcement in the investigation of his sister-in-law's disappearance, while Brad has become uncooperative. Barton publicly urged Brad to cooperate with authorities, stating, "We urge Brad to do the right thing by fully cooperating with the authorities." Barton expressed disappointment in Brad's actions, saying, "This is not how he was raised, and this is not who we are. Our parents instilled in us the values of honoring and protecting others." After seeing Brad in court for the first time since his arrest, Barton commented, "It honestly just makes me sad." Barton has been vocal about the family's distress, stating, "The devastation this has caused to our family is overwhelming. Brad's refusal to cooperate is unacceptable."
Yeah, to say the least.
Despite the difficult situation, Barton seems to maintain hope that Brad will eventually cooperate, saying, "My hope is that, like I've said from the beginning, is that Brad will make things right and be honest and come forward and tell us everything he knows." This information suggests that while the brothers may have had a closer relationship in the past, the current circumstances have created a significant rift between them. A judge issued a gag order to prevent further publicity that could impact Brad's right to a fair trial, indicating the extent of media attention on the case. While the media coverage aims to report on the facts of the case, the nature of the charges and the circumstances surrounding Suzanne Simpson's disappearance have led to a predominantly negative portrayal of Brad Simpson in the media.
So before we get into the next question, so that didn't give a lot of information of how the relationship was previously, like
Right.
maybe way back. It seemed like what the crime force found was more of what they know from the case and going forward. And then
Exactly.
by going through some of like his ability to, what's the word I'm looking for? Work with law enforcement, that says a lot. So I think crime force was showing what they knew forward.
Exactly.
I think going back, we'd have to dig and try to find somebody who knew the family or family friends and what they would say about the relationship. But it sounds like it was always kind of tenuous.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Yeah, but they didn't really, I know why I was looking into this case as well. They didn't have a lot of previous, like the police never really went to the house before. And I think that was like the first time, like sometimes you go to the house previous times in the past.
Yeah.
But that was never really mentioned in the whole document.
Yeah. So what evidence showed that Brad Simpson's was involved in Susanna's murder? So what evidence? So I guess in this, what they're trying to say here in this question is, give us more of the evidence. We know a little bit from the video, but what else do we have?
Okay, let's start with Monday, October 7th.
And this is the
The last
timeline.
activity on Suzanne Simpson's phone was around 7:15 a.m., according to police. The coordinates showed the phone was in a business parking lot in Olmos Park. Brad Simpson's murder warrant states that on the morning of October 7th, he dropped off his young child at school and the bed of his truck contained at least 2 white trash bags and a large ice chest. Around 9:15 a.m., Brad Simpson went to a Whataburger in Bernie, and the bed of his truck contained 3 white trash bags, a large heavy-duty trash can, an ice chest, and a large, bulky item wrapped and secured in a blue tarp, the affidavit
That's what
states.
the video is. Oh, he's going by
Around
the affidavit.
9:53 a.m., geolocation data pointed Brad Simpson at a Home Depot in Bernie, where video surveillance showed he purchased 2 bags of cement, a construction bucket with a lid, a box of 32-ounce heavy-duty trash bags, 1 bottle of Clorox disinfectant spray and insect repellent, according to the affidavit. While in the parking lot of the Home Depot, he asked the man for directions to the nearest dump in Bernie, the affidavit states. After leaving the store, Brad Simpson intentionally placed his phone in lockdown mode after he spoke with the man in the parking lot, the affidavit states. At some point, Brad Simpson's truck was seen leaving the waste site in Bernie. He then headed to a gas station in Bernie and bought 2 one-gallon jugs of water, according to the affidavit. Surveillance footage showed the trash bags were no longer in the bed of the truck, but he still had the blue tarp, firewood rack, and trash can. He had also changed his shoes from sandals to cowboy boots,
this is
the
all in the
affidavit
video.
added. After he left the gas station, he headed westbound from Bernie in
So it's
Kendall
the same
County to
evidence,
Bandera
yeah.
County, the affidavit states. Around 1:41 p.m., a license plate reader captured Brad Simpson's truck heading back to Kendall County. At that time, the blue tarp was no longer visible in the bed of his truck, with the fire rack repositioned, according to the affidavit. At 3 p.m., a school where the Simpsons' children are students called Brad Simpson and advised him that their child had not been picked up, the affidavit from October 9th states. Suzanne Simpson typically picks up their child from school, Brad Simpson told police, according to the affidavit. Around 3:30 p.m., Brad Simpson arrived to pick up his child and the bed of his truck did not contain the firewood rack, surveillance video showed. He did have a heavy-duty trash can and ice chest at that time, according to an affidavit from November 12th. At 4:10 p.m., Brad Simpson went to a car wash and cleaned the inside of his truck, the
That
affidavit
sounds familiar.
states.
Yeah.
The video showed dried cement splashes near the rear passenger compartment and bed. Only the ice chest was visible inside the bed of the truck. On the night of October 7th, a friend of Suzanne Simpson called Brad Simpson about concerns about her disappearance. At that time, he had not yet called the police or 911. He had also told authorities he saw his wife on the morning of October 7th as he was leaving to drop off his young child at school. Her friend ended up calling the police at around 9:57 p.m. on October 6th. Around 10 p.m., Brad Simpson reported his wife missing. Stains in the truck tested positive for Brad's blood. Suzanne's DNA was found on a reciprocating saw that Brad allegedly tried to conceal. Suspicious text messages between Brad and his business partner, James Valley Cotter, suggesting urgency and secrecy. Brad created notes titled This Next Life and Last Will and Testament on October 8th, apologizing for physically assaulting Suzanne.
They mentioned a
A
little
neighbor
bit.
saw
That
a
was-
physical
that was
altercation
new.
between the couple on October 6th. The Simpsons' daughter reported to school staff that her father had hit her mother and taken away her phone.
Yeah, you talked about
Yep,
that.
that mentioned that. Interesting.
Brad's uncooperative behavior. He failed to report Suzanne missing promptly. He didn't keep an appointment with investigators and became uncooperative. Brad Simpson turned his phone off and on multiple times on October 7th to avoid being tracked by law enforcement. This behavior was noted as suspicious by investigators, who believe it was a deliberate attempt to conceal his movements and location during the critical period following Suzanne Simpson's disappearance. Additionally, Simpson activated a rarely used lockdown mode on his phone, further complicating efforts
that
to
sounds
access its
familiar.
data.
That sounds like the Morphew
These
case.
actions, combined with other suspicious behaviors, led authorities to suspect Brad Simpson's
about that at the
involvement
end.
in his wife's disappearance and presumed murder. This combination of physical evidence, witness statements, and suspicious behavior led police to suspect Brad Simpson in connection with Suzanne's disappearance and presumed murder.
Wow, it's really cool. I mean, a lot of this information came from the video, but it's interesting how Agent Wells on the right there grabbed it from like a lot of the affidavits. So that's kind of cool. It's like, you know, he grabbed it like more from the source. If you listen carefully, there's a few more details that they provided.
It wasn't in the video.
Yeah. But thank you guys. We appreciate
And I
you.
like the fact that they did the timeline.
Yeah, the timeline is good. I would like to see that again. So, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go here and we're gonna talk. You start first this time because I went first last time. So
No, it's just that a lot of these cases sound familiar, like you said, the Susan, the Morphew case.
different aspects.
And
of
I
each
also
case.
want to say before I forget, the reason why we picked up this case is because we have a dedicated member. Her name is Jen H. Thank you. And we took this case because she actually voted in the comments that she wanted to hear more about this case. So thank you again, Jen. I know it took some time, but I got you.
And just to let you know, for those that are interested in becoming members, if you become a member, one of the perks is that we have only one tier. I forgot how much it is. It's not that much. And but you get to, we do shout outs, and you also get to pick or send us information of what you would like to see. You get preference on the topics that we cover.
I mean, we may not do
There's some
all the
other
cases,
things,
but
too.
we definitely will look into the case and most likely be a public
There's some other things I think you get along with it. I should know off the top of my head. I apologize.
Like you said.
But yeah. So, and it's interesting going back to the case is that she was never found, correct?
Exactly.
So that reminds me of like the Duos case. The Duos case. That she was never found. And then the whole thing reminded me a little bit of like the Morphew case, in terms of
turning off the phone.
Yes, turning off the phone. And then back to Duo's case as far as the trash bags and all that stuff. So what do you guys think? Him not cooperating. The whole thing is weird. This is a weird one.
Yeah.
I'd like to do a follow-up on this.
Her body. That's the crazy part.
It seems like there's not a lot on there because Crime Force would have grabbed some of the earlier stuff in more detail. Of course, we didn't ask. The questions came in weren't any detailed questions like deep dive. But we'll do this again down the road. We'll do a part 2 where we can challenge the Crime Force team to go in deeper.
And a lot of people asked when they heard that argument outside, they didn't do anything. They didn't call the police or anything as well. So
yeah.
I guess people just mind their business sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes.
Not my problem.
You got it. But so, guys, thank you so much. Thank you, Crime Force, again. Please consider becoming a member, or even that. We just love you guys watching. Seriously, I mean, if you watch and subscribe, if you share, that's extra. That's great. But just watching, and we really appreciate you and put this all together, and we enjoy it. So we hope we see you next time.
Studio 70.
Studio 70, we go.